Okay, I'll wait for a few people to come in here. I thought I would try my first live stream on this new channel here. Still have some hope of getting the old channel back online over the next couple of days, but thought I would go ahead and do this live stream because we've got some fun stuff rolling in here. It's already starting to rain at my house, and just wanted to see what everybody else is getting across the region, how you feel about the rainfall, and we'll go over some of the details on this event, and we'll go over what's coming through the extended forecast as well. So hopefully this is viewable, and I guess I'll find out here soon enough, and I'll try my page here in a moment. Update things here and see what's going on. Looks like, yeah, we are live. We'll go over some of the details on this down. All right, we got our first chatters in here, so this is good. We'll see how this goes. They don't expect near as big an audience as I get with the other channel here, but you know, we'll see how this goes, and hopefully people become more aware about this channel. But yeah, just starting to rain here at my house. Pretty nice seeing this activity start up already. And if you notice here, we're already getting some rainfall with this initial portion of the frontal system, but this back here, this is the juicy part of the system. This is the atmospheric river, this stuff back here. So that is not yet here. This will be rolling in as we go through the day tomorrow. So we still have some time before the heavier rainfall does arrive. And looks like I recognize a few of these names in here. I'm glad to see you guys in here. We already got 40 people watching, so that's good. And yeah, I'll be setting up you can look at some of the latest model runs here as well. I was kind of curious what the 18Z European was showing here. Looks pretty similar to what we've been getting the last couple of days. You can see that really juicy atmospheric river just pushing into the region here as we go through the day tomorrow. So yeah, pretty rainy day for many areas on the day tomorrow. And somebody mentioned that somebody said this was not an atmospheric river because it's not sourced from the tropics. That doesn't really matter. That's not how atmospheric river is measured. But yeah, and this does actually have some tropical connection. There's some, you know, the hurricane of the tropical system north of the Hawaiian Islands went back up into, so it did incorporate some tropical moisture, but that really doesn't matter. You can see the precipitable water with this atmospheric river is very robust. You can see it matches some of the intertropical convergence zone there as far as precipitable water. This is just the value there of precipitable water. This is not a percentage of normal or anything like that. So yeah, this is the real deal here. This is a real atmospheric river, and it is the first one of the season here. And hopefully, you know, we'll be getting a few more as we go through the season, and hopefully they are all beneficial. So let's see catch up on some of the chat here. Bothell just starting to get some rain. Southern BC, got some Idaho people in here. Yeah, I keep trying to sign on to my other channel. It may come up online like at midnight tonight because they said it's at least 7 days, and today would have been 7 days, but I think they might be including today in the 7-day time period. So kind of a weird thing. I mean, the 7-day thing with YouTube is that if you get hacked, you have if you don't check your email, if you're on vacation or something, you have 7 days to come back and see that your account was hacked, your email or your YouTube account. And therefore it gives you some time to go ahead and then put in the request to like recover your account. So it's kind of meant to protect people. But what happened with me was that we caught the hacker pretty quick, and they didn't get the live streams up or anything like that. So once they hacked the account, I started recovering it right away, and YouTube kind of saw that there was something suspicious going on, and they put a freeze on the channel. And then I could see the hacker trying to gather code so they could re-enter the channel, but they were getting sent to my phone. So YouTube intercepted it and sent it to the backup stuff, my phone number and my old email address. So I got that code. So I knew the hackers weren't getting in anymore. So then they sent me a password link. I clicked on the password link and I got into the channel again on last Thursday on my laptop, and everything was okay, but I couldn't sign in on any other device because there was that 7-day lockdown. Then the problem was I asked, how do I get into my other devices? And YouTube told me to clean my cache and my cookies on my devices and then try to re-sign in. So I did that, and I couldn't get back on any of my devices, including the laptop as well. So then I have no access to the channel, even though the channel is up and running. Nobody has access to it. No, the hackers don't, I don't, anything. So the California Weather Watch channel is on the same email address there as well. So just kind of waiting to see if that comes back online. There's no reason it shouldn't, but it's just kind of a tedious waiting time here, trying to get this up and running. But I'm glad that this channel's taken off. I'm glad you guys are finding it. We've got over 100 people in the viewing right now. So if nothing else, we'll just rebuild this one here and whatever. That's just how life is, I guess, sometimes, right? Abby, it's raining. I see that. Yeah, there's going to be some decent amounts. In fact, I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. We're going to go to Pacific Northwest here, and we're going to go in a little bit closer, and we're going to take a look at what the latest is on precipitation. We're going to totals, and the last one I really looked at in depth with the 06Z, so let's check that out. We're going to scroll through, and again, it's just now starting to rain, so this is about 8 o'clock. That's where we are right about now. 03Z is about 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I believe we're on now, maybe daylight. Somebody correct me on that, but yeah, we're minus 7 hours right now, so that's at 8 p.m. There's 9, 10, 11, there's midnight. You can see Seattle getting some rain, Bellingham. Nothing for Portland yet by midnight, but you can see it starting to hit Astoria. You see it hitting some of the Northwest Washington coast. Vancouver Island is already getting up over a half an inch of rainfall for many areas. Southwest BC, by the time we get towards midnight, there's 1 a.m., 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 a.m., 7, 8, you start waking up here and you notice it's still raining for Seattle. You're getting some rain up towards Everett. And again, Bellingham up over a half an inch there as well. Going to be some rain shadowing to the northeast of the Olympic Mountains, at least initially with this system, and probably for a lot of the event actually. And you can kind of see some of that rain shadowing just off to the west of Seattle across the Kitsap Peninsula there also. So as we go through the day Friday, you see the totals start to pick up as we go through Friday afternoon. We're now going on into Friday evening. And look at that, Seattle getting up towards 7/10 of an inch. Look at Olympia, Tacoma, some pretty good amounts. If I scroll through here, you can kind of see hourly chunks, some decent amounts starting to come in there. And it looks like Seattle up towards 9/10 of an inch, Olympia towards an inch, but some bigger amounts across the higher train. Look at the central Cascades there, or the north central Cascades, looking at over 5 inches there by the time we get towards Saturday morning. And if I scroll the way through here, you can kind of see some of that activity. The trough's going to be up the coastline. Some of this is going to be thunderstorm activity here as we go on in through maybe the day Saturday and Sunday. But again, you see the strong rain shadowing when you get east of the mountains there. You're not looking at too much precipitation there, but you know, beggars can't be choosers. You got to take what you can get, and this could be beneficial as long as it's not messing with any of the crop, you know, harvesting out there right now. Let's see what else. I'll check the chat here again. Rochester. Okay, so we got. Let me back out a little bit. So I see somebody asking about Northern California out of this. You can see that it just does clip very northern portions of California, maybe down towards some of the Siskiyous there, towards Mount Shasta. Doesn't really make its way too much further south. You can see this one is really aimed at extreme northwest Oregon, western Washington, southwest BC, Vancouver Island, which of course is going to be extremely good for the forest fire activity. Now I'm going to back this back out here, and again we're going to compare to the 06Z, and I just want to kind of see where we're going here. What did we trend? We actually trended a little bit wetter here. It looks like by the time we get towards Sunday morning, we're looking at about 1 inch for Tacoma. It's an upgrade there from this morning's run, and some heavier amounts across some of the Cascades as well. So maybe we'll get a late excessive rainfall outlook here also. Thanks for the kind words, Molly Patrick. Yeah, look at 150 people in here. It's not bad. I mean, we usually get a few hundred with kind of standard weather events like this. Some of the bigger events like the bomb cyclone we had last year in November, I had about 3,600 people at one time in the live stream. In the tsunami live stream we had a couple weeks ago, and we went over 100,000 subscribers, we had about 3,700 people. I think that was the biggest one. So that was kind of fun as well, watching all the people come in and out of the channel, having fun with that. Glad that there were no deaths or anything like that. Those tsunamis are extremely difficult to predict how they're going to act, and it was good to see that there was no huge damage from that. Looks like Chehalis getting a little bit of rainfall there as well. This is radar Omega. I like that this, you can like oversee the red flag warnings. You can see some of the fire danger out there. Right now, we're just waiting for the system to come in, and we can also go to things like this. If we go to radar, we can go to the combination of Doppler radars here. And if I put that into motion, you can kind of see where some of this rain is going. I mean, it just wet my driveway out there a little bit. So that's that little band of rainfall coming in here. And you can see some heavier amounts across Highway 101, the straight, across some of southern Vancouver Island. Vancouver Island already picking up some. Hopefully that starts getting on that fire here pretty quickly. But yeah, what else? Looks like some of it moving across southwest BC. But yeah, this is just the initial stages of this atmospheric river, and the juicy portion of the storm is still off the coastline. I would assume that I would get it back tomorrow. I was hoping I would get it back today, but that was probably wishful thinking because they said it takes at least 7 days, and I was trying to nail it down to the minute. So yeah, probably a little bit of wishful thinking on my account, but yeah, hopefully tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see. YouTube responded to me on X, and they responded to me via email here just about a half an hour ago saying they were looking into it again. So they're probably going to tell me the same thing, that the system they don't have control of. You have to wait 7 days. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, this channel has 49,000 subscribers here over the last sorry about that, over the last 48 hours. So it's really already mimicking what I was getting on the other channel. I can show you this now because there's no revenue or anything, but you can see we've got 17,000 views here today. And if I go to analytics, you can see over the last 48 hours, I mean, we're averaging over 1,000 views an hour, which is already pretty close to what the old channel usually gets during an event like this. So, you know, maybe a lot of my viewers were stepping it up here as well. But yeah, this is nice to see. Thanks to everybody who's been watching daily. But yeah, and you know, the channel should be offering me monetization for the channel here pretty quickly. We've well exceeded the subscriber and the watch time hours needed for that. So yeah, either way, I'm hopeful. You can see I've only been posting here the last 6 days, and you guys have just been blowing it up. So again, thanks for that. And yeah, I'll close out the team YouTube stuff there. They didn't have anything new to say. They're just saying, yeah, we know about it, and we're waiting for you, and we're trying to help you out. So we'll see how that goes. I'll check up on the chat here. It should be mostly beneficial, but you see some of this rainfall. Actually, let's do this. Let's do this together because this is something I keep forgetting to look at. Let's see how much of this falls in some shorter amounts of time. Let's see. Because if you start getting bigger amounts in short periods, you can still get some urban flooding, or you can get some rapid runoff going on. Let's see what it shows. So here's 3-hour chunks. Some of Vancouver Island and the North Central Washington Cascades do show over half an inch in a 3-hour period. So that's not too exceptional there. But then look at this. As we go through Friday afternoon, Vancouver Island starting to really get up over, 1.3 inches in just a 3-hour period. This is just 3-hour period. So if I scroll through here, let's see what it's got for the Olympic Peninsula, some of Southwest BC, maybe an inch right there. You see right off the higher train, right near Vancouver there, an inch of rain in just 3-hour period. Seattle keeps it under 1/4 of an inch, it looks like, over a 3-hour period. A little bit heavier at times down there across Olympia, some of Southwest Washington. But yeah, largely beneficial. I mean, the river levels are really low right now. They're going to have no problem absorbing this water. This is going to be a very beneficial event, no doubt. Yeah, go ahead and resubscribe if you would. One of the most common comments that I've been getting here over the last couple of days is, oh, I just thought this was your original channel. So I guess it's been pushing the videos to people who normally view my channels, which is why the channel's been doing so well. But at the same time, a lot of people probably don't realize that they're not subscribed to this channel. So if you don't know, go ahead and check and click the subscribe button if you would. The most ironic thing about this entire event is that I got hacked probably about a half an hour after I filled out the award for my plaque, the 100,000 subscribers. So that is on its way. And I just got the notification here today that is going to be at my house tomorrow. So I will have the plaque of 100,000 subscribers. So hopefully I can recover that channel. If not, then I'll just build this one back up to 100,000 and maybe we'll just have duplicate plaques back there, or I'll rename it something else. Who knows? Friday Harbor. Yeah, I'll get the California channel going here again. The Patreon page is part of that whole system there too, so I can't get back into the Patreon page. It's just been a complete mess. But yeah, let's do 6-hour precipitation totals here also. So as we go through, yeah, you see these reds on Vancouver Island there. Looks like some 2+ inch in 6 hours. That is very impressive for August. And look at the Olympic Peninsula there as well. You're talking about up over 1.5 inches in a 6-hour period for some of the Olympic Peninsula. Central Cascades up over 1.5 inches as well. North Central there, I should say. And you know, Seattle, what, 0.36? It looks like it tops out at. And let's do this as well. I want to look at the high resolution model, high resolution rapid refresh. The 0Z data is in. We'll go 6-hour precipitation. And look at this for Vancouver Island. The fire hose is in effect. I mean, my goodness, up over 2 inches in a 6-hour period. And you're even getting some totals up over 1 inch in the 6-hour period just with this initial band of rainfall there. I guess kind of a warm front. Okay, catch up on the chat here for a second. Tucson, Arizona in the house. Roseburg, Oregon. Yeah, let me try to, I'm going to do something here. Yeah, we got 200 people in here. Not bad. Not bad for a newly formed YouTube channel, I'm sure. Okay, now let's run the high resolution rapid refresh. We'll go we'll go 6 hours here. Oh, looks like we're okay. I thought I froze something up. Okay, there we go. Okay, so let's look at the 6-hour precipitation amounts on the high resolution. And again, you can kind of see as you go through tonight into tomorrow morning, I think Seattle gets about 1/6 of an inch of rain. And so it should be raining for a lot of you there, Seattle north, as you wake up tomorrow. But you see the rain shadow going on also. You know, Squim, Port Angeles. There's a reason why retirees that don't like the rain like to move out there, and lesser amounts across Tacoma and Olympia, at least initially. But then as we go through the day on Friday, look at the atmospheric river rolling across the area. I mean, my goodness, 6-hour totals there. Seattle, 1/2 inch. Look at Olympia punching up over 7/10 of an inch in a 6-hour period. Look at that 0.52 for Seattle. Look at some of the amounts across the Cascades of Washington. And again, the northern Willamette Valley in Portland is going to be right on the edge and the fringe there of some of the heavier precipitation amounts, but we should get, you know, 1/10 of an inch or 2 up and down the Willamette Valley, which of course just, you know, beggars can't be choosers, like I say, and you kind of got to be happy with that. But look at the Cascades of of Oregon there are doing pretty well. As you can see, the blues are a 1/2 inch and the yellows are over 1 inch of precipitation. This is just 6-hour period here. But yeah, let's take a look at precipitation total and kind of scroll through this as well. But yeah, look at that. Seattle, maybe up towards 9/10 of an inch. Olympia, close to 1 inch of precipitation. And again, some much bigger local amounts in some of the higher terrain of Southwest BC, North Cascades, Olympic Mountains, Vancouver Island. I mean, it shows 8 inches here. The HER is probably, it's well overdoing that. I don't expect 8 inches, but you could be seeing some 2 to 4 inch totals, maybe locally higher, 5 inches or something like that. Intiat Valley, dry but cloudy. Rain shadowing. Well, you can imagine right here, you can see the rain shadow effect. This is the big mountain range, the Olympic Mountains. You slam this low-lying area of moisture into the Olympic Mountains, and you're really draining all that moisture on this side. You get this downsloping effect as the air hits the Olympic Mountains. It downslopes here, and then you dry things out, and you get much less rainfall. So that's kind of how the Pacific Northwest works, and you get that dramatic rainfall action there east of the mountains also. So you get big amounts across the Cascades. That downsloping dries things out, and you get much less rainfall east. And the same thing happens on the leeward side of the Olympic Mountains, as you can clearly see there on the high resolution rapid refresh. It paints that rain shadow very nicely. You can also see it here on the North American high resolution model as well. So let's scroll. It shows about, what, 3/4 of an inch for Seattle. And you can really see some of the hit and miss. There's going to be some people that are like, oh, I didn't get that much rainfall. There's going to be others that are like, yeah, we got drenched, man. I mean, look at Olympia there and some of the coastal regions. You're talking about Quileute there up over 3 inches, Hoquiam 1.5, and some decent amounts for the coastal range of Oregon showing up here on the North American model as well. But look at that strong rain shadowing signal. Yeah, I really like the drop in temperatures there after a few warm days. It starts to really get tough, especially when you're like me. I like to try to push the limit there, and I try not to turn the AC on, and I see if I can cool things off at night and whatnot. So I try to open up the windows and cool the house down. But yeah, the family wants their conditioning on, so we usually just default to that. But I try to push my luck there with that. But yeah, I do enjoy these marine pushes and the onshore flows where you get this nice breeze that starts to cut through the house and it really drops the temperatures off, especially during the summertime. I really like that. Because yeah, we had that 92 degrees a couple days ago. So yeah, we have definitely cooled down quite a bit. And there's some of that thunderstorm action there. Looks like that pops off on Saturday afternoon. Then you go through Saturday night into Sunday morning, some additional rounds. Thunderstorm activity from Washington up across northeastern Oregon, northeast Oregon, on in through Idaho there. There's some decent amounts across some of the higher terrain of BC and some of northeast Washington, but kind of isolated there, where you can really see where this atmospheric river is pointed. There's something new here as well. So if I go to surface moisture, nope, it's upper air moisture there. Nope, it is on the HER though. I'm on the North American model. We'll go to integrated vapor transport, and you can see this is quite interesting. I'm going to back up to the 0Z run, but this is the new tool, the integrated vapor transport. This is how we measure atmospheric rivers based on the value here, the integrated vapor transport and the duration. So as we bring this through, you can see it really starts to get into Western Washington as we go through tomorrow morning. And then the big slug of moisture moves through as we go through basically after the noon hour. And you can see this really track across the region. And then, starts to weaken. Still have the trough off the coastline here, keeping some showers going. And then that atmospheric river will be a thing of the past. But yeah, big slug of moisture coming in tomorrow. 112 here. Where are you? Are you in Phoenix or something? Are you in Tucson? Is that what? But yeah, it's been fun to watch the subscriber count. I think some people realize, hey, I'm not subscribed, so I go ahead and click on that. But yeah, click on subscribe if you would. I know a lot of people don't realize this is a new channel. So I'm trying to regain control of the other one. So if you would, just click subscribe, because if I can't get that one back, this is going to become the main channel and we're just going to build this thing back from scratch. Shower started in central Kitsap around 7 p.m. My rain gauge already shows more than we had for the entire month of July. Yeah, I didn't have much in July. I think we had 1/100 of an inch here at SeaTac too. Oh, this is pretty cool. I have a separate chat bar. That's nice. Tucson. Okay, nice. Raining very lightly off and on in Bellingham. But yeah, there's the infrared satellite imagery. You can see not a bad low pressure system here for August. I mean, it's nothing that you would even blink twice at during the fall months. Well, you might. I mean, it's a frontal system, especially during the summertime. This is kind of a big deal. And this is the juiciest part of that. This integrated vapor transport, this big slug of moisture, this atmospheric river, the big precipitation is right back in here. And this is kind of a little bit of a pseudo warm front here, bringing some of the precipitation we are dealing with right now currently. So you can kind of see that here where we are getting some of this rainfall. Another thing I like about this, for example, if I go up here towards Southwest BC or something, you can see, you can zoom in all the way to street level and it shows you schools and parks and everything like that. So I do enjoy this product here, this Radar Omega. Nothing for Portland yet. Looks like just maybe a shower across Northwest Oregon. But you can clearly see the rain is starting across the Olympic Mountains. It's probably just starting to rain here on some of the Bear Gulch fire. Should be right in this region. So the precipitation is starting to fall. Thanks for the kind words. Oh, so the memberships on the other, that's a good question. Somebody asked, what about the memberships? Funny enough that the AdSense account connected to the YouTube channel, I will still get paid for that. But I'm going to have to figure something out, because I don't know if it's good to keep that those accounts just going. I should probably notify people and just be like, hey, if you want to jump to this channel and put that on, put your account on here, or do it on the Patreon page. Maybe that might be better as well. I might have to do a new Patreon page as well if I can't gain control of the email address, because I don't have access to that right now. Yeah, a lot of people reporting Jeffrey Peters. Uche, light rain now in West Olympia. This will really suppress the fire quite a bit. I don't know how much it'll put it out. Probably won't fully put it out. And something we have to remember is that as we get in towards the summer, the later summer months, as we get into September, is really when we start to get some of these more offshore wind events. Thermal troughs along the coastal areas here, we get those offshore events, are actually more prevalent as you get towards the later portion of August and on in through September. So you can get some of these offshore winds. We could still go through a period where we get quite dry and we could still have some fire activity, and where like the Bear Gulch fire or the fire across Vancouver Island could re-flare up. So this is good, but doesn't mean the fire is out just because this one system rolls through. Now, what the hackers did was they used a session token. So I tried to view a PDF and apparently had malware on it, and then they grabbed it and they basically had control of my computer, and they went in and they changed the password, phone number, and then they put live streams on the accounts and everything. And luckily I kind of saw it right away. And so I was able to like put the recover account, and YouTube saw that it and flagged it pretty quickly there. So I will never open another file ever again in my life without scanning it. So yeah, that's my lesson learned here. I didn't realize that they could just grab a session token. They were bypassing everything. I had two-step authentication going on and everything, and they still bypassed it. It sent emails to my phone. It was saying your password has been changed, your phone number has been changed. And I kind of wonder why Google and YouTube would allow a phone number and password and email to be changed just within the stroke of a minute. It kind of seems like that would send out a flag, and you would have to maybe ask the backup email account, do you want to do this? Something to that effect. But yeah, I'm not sure exactly how it works besides that. Raining on Camino Island. Yes, I do see that up there. And you can see it looks like Victoria's getting some rainfall. Highway 101, some rainfall moving across Port Angeles probably right now. San Juan's, it's just coming into Bellingham now, it looks like. This light band kind of moved through, but there's more to come. We got more to come as we go through tonight. The windy rain feels good in Grayland. Yes, I love that feeling indeed. So basically you can download a malware program, and then you can just right click on it or whatever, and you can click scan with whatever malware program you have, and it'll tell you if it's got malware in it. So it's just something I clicked on and I didn't think anything about it. And then it wanted me to install something, which I thought looked like a legit program where I was going to view the PDF or whatever. And then it was malware, and I had control of my computer. Yeah, Roseburg, you're on the south end of things down there. It's going to be tough to get the bigger precipitation amounts for sure. But yeah, I don't have any access to making money on this channel right now. It's not monetized or anything like that. As you can probably see, there's no super chats. There's no way anybody can send me any money right now. I have to get monetized before that happens. So I'm just kind of doing this to try to get the channel established and whatnot. And like somebody mentioned earlier, I still will get paid for whatever happens, any memberships on the other channels. My account is still hooked up to my bank account. And so I know the account is free and clear right now, so that money will go through, but we'll have to figure something else out if I can't get, those channels back. No, I don't have this one monetized. Yep. So it should be in the next day or so. I mean, you guys have viewed so much, like with what I just showed. Yeah, I mean, you need 3,000 hours and 1,000 subscribers, and you guys bypassed that in 4 days. So it's ready to go. It just takes YouTube a little bit to go ahead and make that happen. You can see This is back through August 9th only. They go like 1 day at a time. They're nice and slow. So it's like a 5-day lag period. So as soon as they hit the 3,000 hours, which I will tomorrow, and I've got way more than the needed subscribers and video uploads, so it will be monetized then. But again, not that big of a deal, really. I also want to look at the European artificial intelligence and see what we got in the extended forecast a little bit. Yeah, there's some chances for thunderstorms in the eastern portion, especially eastern Oregon, northeast Oregon into Idaho, but you can't rule some out for eastern Washington. That'll probably be later on in the period, and I'll show you that right now. So this is what's ushering in the atmospheric river tomorrow. Right there, nice trough off our coastline, pushing that atmospheric river through. And you notice the trough is going to hang out for a couple of days. So as this thing is spinning out here, it's going to be bringing some instability up with it, and especially east of the mountains. There will be some thunderstorm chances through this weekend and on in through the early portion of next week. And I scroll through there. Looks like that ridge gets building there. Look at that. That might be a bit of an upgrade there over the last few runs. That ridge axis starting to stretch out back across Western Canada. How much progress does that trough make? It's a big cat and mouse. That's a pretty strong ridge there across the Intermountain West. How close will this trough get? This is going to be interesting. So something else I'll do here as well. We'll go back to heights and we'll go to run to run change. So this is kind of interesting because it'll show you. Basically, this is the difference between the 12Z and the 18Z. So this morning's run versus the most recent, the 18 Zulu run that started running about 11 a.m. So there's our trough right here. We don't see any oranges or any blues yet. So pretty close as we go through hour 30. Let's see if we scroll it out through 42. When do we see any blues or yellows? There's the tiniest bit of blue there. So this trough coming in just a hair bit stronger, or is it? No, it's pretty good model agreement. You can see this trough weakened here a little bit. Hour 126, this trough not quite as deep along the Pacific Northwest coastline. You can see more troughing out here north of the Hawaiian Islands and a little bit more ridging than the previous model is what this is showing. So if we scroll a little bit further out, you can see definitely more ridging here on this afternoon's run versus this morning's. So yeah, we might warm up a little bit more than what I talked about this morning. But again, we got a ways to go. You're still looking up over a week out on the forecast. Not anything to get too worried about just yet. But if I scroll out 10 days, you can kind of see that ridging is a little bit more prevalent. But this trough is still pretty close to the coastline. Probably enough to keep things from warming up too much. Thanks for the kind words, Tangle Zest. The Patreon money is still going to the Patreon page. That's something, yeah, I contacted Patreon on Monday and they emailed back pretty quick. And then they haven't emailed back after that. I asked them, what do I do if I lose access to my email account? And they said, give us some information, which I did. And then they haven't responded. So I'm going to bug them again tomorrow. But if not, I'll have to restart a new Patreon page as well. But, we'll see how that goes. We'll look at the European Artificial Intelligence Ensemble mean as well. Let's take a look at this. This is also run-to-run change. Pretty good. My goodness, pretty good agreement there within itself. But it does show some more ridging. But what are we out? How many hours? They've got this janked up a little bit here. This is like, man, we're looking like 12 days off in the forecast there, so not really too much to get worried about there. Yeah, we had a pretty good round of thunderstorms last year in August. That was pretty fun. Yeah, I see somebody James Redding talking about some lowland snow. I'm dreaming about it already. Yep, I hope for it. And I don't like what windstorms do, and I don't like it when they mess stuff up, but I love the meteorology behind windstorms. So, man, it's one of the, between an Arctic outbreak and a massive windstorm, it's a hard choice for me to pick between the two. I will get so hyped up over each one of those. I mean, Yeah, when you get within 4 or 5 days of one of those events, I will watch every single model run and I will click through every single stage of each model and watch for any kind of trend or anything. I get really into it. So yeah, it's very fun. It's my probably my main source of entertainment here outside of my kids and stuff. So ridging and troughing, somebody asked what the difference is between ridging and troughing. So if I go to the European, we're going to go to just the upper, let's just do the North American continent here. So you can kind of see the tropospheric polar vortex up here. So what we're looking at here, of course, there's Washington State, and you can kind of see what Greenland is way over here. You're looking at some of this colder air across the northern hemisphere, and where this warmer air from the equatorial regions meets with that is where you are getting the mid-latitude cyclones. You can see this is where the jet stream would be out here across the Pacific Ocean, and this is the trough. You get some colder air here. And on the flip side of that, look at the ridge down across the southeast portion of the USA. So you're getting sinking air, warmer conditions, less rainfall, a trough, think more clouds, convergence, cooler conditions. That's a trough. That's the ridge right there. You might have, if you guys have any social media accounts, you're probably hearing a lot of chatter about Aaron out there. Looks like it's going to make the turn before it gets towards the Atlantic seaboard there. But it's always pretty scary when you have a strong hurricane moving that close. And even then, it can cause some problems for some of the coastal areas. But yeah, interesting look at things there. You can see that hurricane kind of move out and just kind of stay off the coastline. And it's forecast to stay out here and turn north in the northeast. Yeah, the inaugural day storm, man, that was epic. Yeah, you can go back in the past records and you can take a look and you can see that storm developing. I mean, you can see the pattern setting up about 9 or 8 days in advance. So that's something I'm always watching for as we go on in through the fall months. It's one of the huge windstorms. If you're closely paying attention, you can kind of see the potential as much as 9, 10 days out even. Although the reliability of that is not much. So I wouldn't be talking about it at 9 days, but once it starts getting inside of a week and you start to see some of that moisture streaming across, you see that deep trough setting up across the Gulf of Alaska, then it starts getting my attention. But what I'm trying to say basically is that I'll see something coming and I'll probably still wait a good 2 to 3 days before I would start to mention it on the channel here, because I don't want to hype up a windstorm that's 8 days out with, and the forecast can flip flop really quickly at that time frame. But I do watch every model run closely. And then when you get towards day 5 or 6, then I start bringing in those hints of the potential for it. Oh, Brewfest on Saturday. Okay. Oh, so that was the same weekend that we were dealing with the thunderstorms as of last year. Okay. Yeah, I didn't realize that. Okay. Yeah, this is a pretty wet system rolling in here. And again, if you guys didn't see this, there's Washington, Oregon, British Columbia. I mean, you don't need a meteorologist to know that that's a lot of clouds. And there's the atmospheric river right back there. That's the juicy part of the storm. That's going to be rolling in as we go through the day tomorrow. Yeah, somebody mentioned the Farmer's Almanac here, and I guess to put it nice, it's really no better than a horoscope. There's no science behind it or anything. There's nothing to the Farmer's Almanac. It's just something like a novelty. It's just kind of an old school thing. When I was young, I used to read about it. My mom used to read about it and whatnot. It's just something kind of fun to look at. But it's no different than flipping a coin. The Farmer's Almanac isn't really meant to bring you information on a detailed winter forecast. More of a novelty. Yeah, no, that's the thing. Yeah, it's fun to read. I used to always read it when I was young, and I was like, I would watch the dates and I would see the forecast, and sometimes like in the Reader's Digest or whatnot, the Farmer's Almanac, not the Reader's Digest, but the Farmer's Almanac actually has a full printout of it. And I would read the exact dates and I'd be trying to line things up, and I would get kind of a little bit frustrated when it wasn't very accurate. But yeah, no, it's fun. It's fun. Okay, let's take a look here at. You can see the sun setting across the region here as well. But yeah, we're getting some decent rain on the coast right now. Back here is the atmospheric river, the deeper moisture, much more moist atmosphere is back there. Let's see what Spokane has to say here recently. Beneficial rain, not many changes. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, not many changes. Oh, we got a hydrologic outlook here for the North Cascades. Urban and urban-like flooding will be possible in flat areas and roadways. Some small streams and creeks may become swollen due to rapid runoff, while others will remain lower if the channel bed is able to absorb the water efficiently. Rivers will not flood, but some rapid rises out there. Yeah, it's more of a threat to those engaged in recreational activities in and along river channels. That makes sense. Burn scar areas is kind of what worries me the most. If you get a bunch of rain across some of the burn scar areas, the good news is that a lot of people don't really live around the burn scar areas for the most part. But if you do, you know, how many people does this have to impact before it becomes a big deal? I mean, you can get some pretty interesting debris flows. You know, the hydrophobic soil out there, once it burns, that water's running off fiercely, then all of a sudden it gets enough momentum where it starts just digging up and channeling that debris, and then you get a big mudslide and it comes down slope and it runs into somebody's house. That it becomes a big deal really quick. So let's bounce back out here. I get the hydrologic outlook for the entirety of western Washington. So that's pretty interesting. 3 to 5 inches across the mountains. Yeah, that's not bad. Half inch, 1.5 inches expected through the lowlands. That makes sense. It's kind of what we saw earlier in the video here this evening. And this is another issue. Conditions have left the soils dry and hard, so it may run off pretty quickly here, which is, it just seems you can never win when you get heavy rainfall, right? You've either got too much rain in the last couple of weeks, or you don't have enough, or, you know, there's always some threats when you dump a bunch of rain on an area. Urban and urban-like flooding will be possible in flat areas and roadways. So, yeah, maybe I'll go out there and chase this a little bit, see if I can find some water over the roadway. Carl Fisher mentioned just got back from 6 weeks of camping on Vancouver Island. That is a long vacation. That must be fun. Not a drop of rain, too many wildfires. Agreed. Yeah, there's the chance of that. There's the chance of these mudslides and whatnot. I mean, if debris flows, burn scar areas is what we're talking about here. And a little air quality alert there for the burns, or not the burn scar, the Bear Gulch fire. The National Weather Service also has one of these overlays too. This one is a lot more clunky looking though, but you can see it has a hydrologic outlook. It has the precipitation coming across the region. But yeah, I'm more of a fan of like these. And you can also go to these single site radars here as well. So this is what I'll be doing when we get, you know, the bigger storms later on. You can go out to this is Camano Island. Then you got the Washington Coast radar, the Langley radar right there. And man, it's been fun watching this radar. You can see some really interesting signals. It's narrow cold frontal rain bands and stuff, and some of these rotating storms that come in off the coastline and whatnot. And just watching the wind shift and these frontal systems as they roll in. This Langley Doppler radar has really been a lot of fun to watch. And you can imagine one of the biggest problems with Doppler radars across the country, you look at the Langley radar here, you can't see anything. And why is that? Because you've got a huge mountain range in the way. These beams slam into the mountains and then they become no good. You can put them up over the mountains, but then you're only scanning the upper levels of the atmosphere. These beams, you can put them at 0 degrees basically, and they will hit waves on the ocean. You will see them hitting waves out over the ocean, but these beams can stretch way out. So you can kind of see how it picks up precipitation signal reflectivity all the way out over the ocean, you know, way out there. And you can see this beam is at what, 140 miles, 140 some odd, but you can see it picks up some of those radar returns at 190 miles out there. So yeah, that's one of the benefits of having this coastal radar. You really get a good look out over the ocean. There are no terrain features out there to mess with your Doppler radar beam. And if you go to the Camino Island Doppler radar, the same thing. So this is all we had for years. For many years, we had only this. And so you could never really see. I mean, look at the difference here. Look at the difference in these Doppler radars and what they're picking up. This is all we had for the longest time. So you were guessing what was happening out over the coastal regions here. These beams slam into the Olympic Mountains and they become no good at all. It's just the attenuation of the Olympic Mountains there. You just got nothing out there. So you had to wait and you could start to see precipitation rounding the Olympic Mountains. Then you start to see it pick up. But by then it's too late. You don't have much lead time for that heavy rainfall coming in. But now that we have that coastal Doppler, this is just awesome stuff. Now, the next big issue is let me get off this measuring tool. So we have the coastal range here. And the problem is you've got the Portland Doppler radar here, but you can see you're hitting the coastal range with some of this. So these beams can go over the top, but you're really not getting a very clear image. And up and down the Oregon coast, you got to go all the way down to California before you can get another Doppler radar. And that is no help for the central, even much of the southern Oregon coastline there. The northwest Oregon coast is kind of blind. And sometimes you'll kind of look and you can see this hanging out, but you're still scanning the beam at pretty high up in the atmosphere when you go out that far. So a lot of the Oregon coast is blind, you know, from these storm systems. And again, this one is punching into some of the coastal range there. So these beams can't get through. Yeah, that's about right, as I understand. 8 inches per month. I don't remember the exact calculation though. Yeah, I can remember going on to America Online and just downloading static images. And I remember the first time I could ever see the Camino Island Doppler radar, and I was like, wow, we can actually see where it is raining or where it is snowing. It was like the biggest deal when the Doppler radar came online back in the 90s. So that's why I was so excited. I think, what was it, 2012 when the Langley Doppler came online? I mean, I was just so excited for that. And now we badly need one on the Oregon coast because there are a lot of people that live in the Willamette Valley and the Oregon coast. We get tornadic storms here as well. You get thunderstorms, huge windstorms visit these regions. Can you imagine having a well-placed Doppler radar somewhere down towards what? I don't know, Dragon Dunes or something like that, or what? I mean, anywhere along 101, pick a nice location, and we would really get a good look into these systems. I'm supposed to get control of the channel back. I thought it was today, but they said at least 7 days. So tomorrow might be what they consider the 8th day. So I don't know. I'm hoping I get the channel back tomorrow. But hopefully everybody that's watching this right now knows that this is the new channel. Please subscribe to it. This will be the backup channel if something ever happens to the other one again. And if I can't get the other one back, this will be the main channel going forward. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, what does it take to get another radar going? It's like, yeah, somebody get what, Bezos or Elon Musk to cough up some money for this coastal radar. Heck, I'd put money into it if we could get it done, publicly fund it. The other channel got hacked. I see a lot of people still asking, but yeah, the other channel got hacked. YouTube says that it's been secured and everything, but there's a 7-day mandatory wait once a channel gets hacked. And then I kind of messed up because I cleared the cache and the cookies on my computer, and so I could not access it again. My session expired and now nobody has access to the channel, so I have to wait for the 7 days to expire. And it was supposed to expire sometime today, but they said at least 7 days, so hopefully I can get it back tomorrow, yada yada yada. But yeah, we're waiting for that. Hopefully we can get that back. Yeah, phased array, yes, that would be nice. We've had 240 people in the chat here. This is not bad for just, a frontal system moving through. This is not a huge, crazy storm. It's a little bit unusual here for the month of August, but if you're just joining, look at our low, spin it up out there. This is the big bulk of the system. Deep moisture coming in here, rare August atmospheric river pointed towards Vancouver Island, then Washington, Oregon, some nice rainfall amounts. Hopefully this is a fire extinguisher for these big fires across Vancouver Island, the Olympic Peninsula as well. Probably not, but it's going to slow them down quite a bit. We just need to back it up with another couple of frontal systems. That would be quite nice. And hopefully we don't get any kind of big offshore east wind event that just gets these fires raging again. Yeah, I see a lot of chat coming through here. It's hard to read all of it, but yeah, no, keep the questions coming. 237 people in the chat right now. I probably should have put that this was live. Here, let me do that right now. I'm going to put this live on. Live atmospheric river chat. There we go. I put the links on X and Blue Sky. Checking out some of the chat here. Well, that's a good question. I mean, is AI going to be able to blend all the Doppler radars to get a full picture off coast and inland? I don't know exactly how that will work. I mean, we have things like this right now where I can go to, if I go to radar and then I go to MRMS, this shows a combination of the Doppler radars here. So I don't know how AI will be used to kind of depict what a Doppler radar is showing. Good question, though. Once you get your channel back, you should use this channel as one of the vlog channels, maybe within an Arctic low turns more deeper, October and stuff. Yeah, I don't know how I will use this channel just yet, but I will keep it because if, I'm a little bit too busy still with my day job and things like that, and I still have children and whatnot, and I have to do the California and Pacific Northwest. So I had the Worldwide Weather Watch channel, and I did that for a little bit. And it's a good thing that I had that channel ready to go because I had about 2,500 subscribers. And when I started putting out the videos, the word got out quick. So it's a good thing I had it. So I'll just leave it as a backup in case anything happens in the future. Yeah, and the funny thing is, if you search on YouTube, it happens to really big YouTube channels. So it's almost like a couple of friends were telling me, it's like, hey, at least you're big enough that the hackers were coming after you. Because if you look on YouTube, it usually happens to people with 1 million, 2 million subscribers, and they eventually get their channels back. But a lot of people had to go through the hackers actually putting live streams of cryptocurrency and stuff on their channel. So it was really kind of damaging to the channel because people, you have 1 million subscribers and all of a sudden these random weird cryptocurrency live streams are happening on your channel, and can be really kind of frustrating for the owners, probably even more the owners of the channel than, but kind of seeing that stuff on the channel isn't good for the brand either. I mean, I think what was it, Tech Tips? They got hacked in the exact same way that I did. So it was, even these guys who are very technologically advanced and they're up to date with everything in the tech world are still getting scammed by this. All you got to do is click on the wrong thing. So yeah, that's what happened. I got scammed, and they went after me right as I was getting 100,000 viewers. So, and on the side note here, I mentioned earlier, the plaque will be coming tomorrow for the other channel. So hopefully we do get that back. The flash flooding won't be as bad as what happened in Texas or Tennessee. This would be localized and over some of the higher terrain, maybe in any burn scar areas. You'd get some debris flows. And in the urban settings here, you get water across the roadways and things like that, but you're not looking probably at any kind of life-threatening major flood like what we saw in Texas last month or Tennessee or anything like that. We're not getting that kind of deluge here with this system. Yeah, Jesse, that's true. That the 2FA doesn't mean jack because they hacked the session, so it didn't matter. They had total control to my laptop, so they could kind of just go in and change whatever they wanted. As soon as they had my session, they could just do the two-step authentication by themselves, just bypassing me. And I just saw these emails coming to my account. Your password has been changed. Your phone number has been changed. And then I went to the channel and people are like, why do you have a live stream going for a cryptocurrency, or why is it about to start? And I was like, oh man, this is not good. So I closed out the laptop. I took it off the internet there and I started doing the restore right away. So YouTube was on it pretty quick. At least they didn't get the live stream started. Yeah, Bri, that BRI there. Good point. I will not scan anything ever again without, I will not open anything ever again without fully scanning it and just like double and triple checking who sent it. You know, yeah, we're not going down that route again. Yeah, no, we're not getting any kind of flooding like what Texas got in July. Nope, nothing like that is coming here. We can get huge floods here, but this is not it. The rivers are low right now. You can get some nuisance flooding and whatnot, and there may be some flooding for some locations, some water over the roadway for some areas and whatnot, higher terrain, things like that, but you're not looking at any big life-threatening flooding. I mean, I guess I shouldn't really fully say that. If you get people caught off guard across the North Cascades or Vancouver Island, you could get some flooding that puts some people in danger, but you're not looking at people getting washed downstream. And, this is not like what's going on in Tennessee or what happened in Texas last month as a general rule. Oh yeah, let's see if I can make people moderators here. Okay, I'll have to go to the actual... Okay, there we go. There we go. Western Washington weather back in the house. If anybody else was a moderator previously, let me know. I'll give you the initial low-end moderator status first. 255 people in the chat. So yeah, this is the initial band of rainfall here, but the big stuff is still out here across Pacific Ocean. This is not the big slug of moisture yet. That comes tomorrow. So let's look at that again here for a moment. I'm going to go a little bit closer here and you can see what is going on. So here we are right about now. We're about what, 9 o'clock. We're right about there. We're getting some of that moisture moving in here, but the big slug, the atmospheric river, the biggest portion of it is right back there. And that will be arriving as we go through Friday morning for Vancouver Island. And right after noon there for Western Washington, you're going to be getting some big rainfall coming across the region there, at least for August standards. And then the frontal system passes through. But yeah, you can see a pretty juicy system. And again, there it is. It's right out here right now. That's the big portion of this atmospheric river. Yeah, I saw that earlier. I think it was on the herd, it was showing 3 inches for Quileute there. So yeah, some big amounts coming in. Yeah, it's funny because at Alaska Airlines, they've really stepped up their security too. Every time I sign into something, I have to, it'll then ping my phone wherever I am. If I'm signed into my email, it'll then ping my phone. I have to select the correct number. Then I have to put my fingerprint on there. So places like Alaska Airlines, we're really stepping up our security. I need to be that vigilant here with my accounts at home, obviously now, because I can't, this was, this was just awful. I'm not, there's no income coming in from the channel or anything like that, in which I would probably do this for free anyway, but I would like to make this where I can, make this my career at some point, doing these YouTube channels and teaching people about the weather and like bringing these daily briefings. And so, you know, I have to worry about that. So yeah, I can't go through this kind of security lapse again. So I'd have to jar my memory on what happened last August, but this is going to be a nice rainfall for a lot of areas. I mean, last year we were getting more of that monsoon moisture coming back up over the area. It was not an atmospheric river in this sense, where this is more of a typical fall, pretty decent to strong atmospheric river. Wind is picked up in the Tri-Cities. Yeah, that sounds about right. A 1 in 10 year event for mid-August. That sounds probably about right. I'd have to go back and look at everything there and go through the data, but this is not something that happens every single year. But once you get to September and October, you start to get these systems more and more. In September, this is probably more like a 1 in 3, 1 in 4. In October, this is not that rare to get this kind of a system in the month of October, especially towards the end of October. And by the time you get towards November, that's peak rainfall season here across much of the Pacific Northwest. And for example, even SeaTac during some of the days in November averages like over a quarter of an inch a day. So we can get some huge rainfall events in November, December, and January. Yeah, so August 17th was last year's big thunderstorm event. Yes. Well, I hope that I get control of that channel back tomorrow. Yeah, sometimes it does take a while to get everything back. So YouTube is talking to me. They know that I was hacked. It sounds like I will get the channel back, but at the same time, it's kind of a big deal. So it's just like, I really don't understand why they just can't give me the access back now. So it kind of makes me a little bit nervous in that sense. Yeah, they have been responsive. I mean, we've been emailing back and forth. There's probably a 24 email chain back and forth, and they've been telling me what to do. I wish they wouldn't have told me to reset my cookies and my cache, though, because that really messed things up, and then I couldn't access the channel at all. But besides that, at least they've been communicating with me. Yeah, it's going to be a rainy drive tomorrow, going from the Oregon coast. See Johnson tomorrow. That'll be a bit of a rainy drive. Test out your windshield wipers with that one. Yeah, and that's true. If we take a look at dew point temperatures here, let's go to, so let's scroll through here. Yeah, you can see, I mean, we're getting some pretty good dew points across the region. If I go a little bit closer, we'll go to Pacific Northwest here. And I mean, look at that. That's nothing to scoff at. You're good. 2 points into the mid 60s here. And that is true. I mean, we're getting some pretty deep moisture back across the area. Compare that to what we're getting this late this morning here as of today. And then look at that moisture stream. And it even gets east of the mountains a little bit there as well. But yeah, mid 60s, that is not bad. Let's see if we can do this. Let's go to Quileute, Washington. If I can find it here. I scroll down too far. I did. There we go. Precipitable water in inches. So let's go to, what is today? August 14th. There's the 21st. There's the 18th. There's the 15th. So the 14th is right about August 15th there. There's August 14th. So you can see right about what are we looking at here? 1.56 precipitable water. But you can see how we peak as we get through the month of September. We tend to get some of these really juicy frontal systems when they do happen in the month of September. Then you go through November and October and you think, well, this is the rainy season, but at the same time, we're not getting quite as much precipitable water. So yeah, it will feel muggy tomorrow. Quite a muggy day incoming. That is definitely going to be the case. Let's see what other we have in here. I forget exactly what we're sitting here. We got 925 millibar dew point. Do we have a surface? Convective temperature, mixed layer, precipitable water, surface dew point. There it went. What? Where did it go? So we'll click on Quileute and we'll go to surface dew point here. It looks like the peak is 68, and you notice it was in August too. So when you get these atmospheric rivers during the month of August, they can be quite muggy. For example, if you go through January, February, March, April, you're dealing with dew points that peak in the 50s. But again, as you go through the summertime, we can get some of this more moist air. It's just usually not very rainy at this time of the year. But let's see, August, what is this? August 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, where's 14th? Right about there. So daily max for Quileute showing up at 61, but some of the surrounding days are right around 62, 63. So let's go back. Where were we here? Did I click off of that? I think I did. So we'll just go back to it here. We'll go to regions. We'll go to Pacific Northwest, and we will go to surface moisture and dew point temperature. And let's see, do we get towards that 62, 63 level here? Let's scroll out through Friday. You can see Seattle starting to bump up there. It doesn't show, it only got to 60 there for Quileute, but it does get more moist across the interior. So yeah, it's a degree or so off of record level there, a degree or two off of record level for dew point temperature. So yeah, it will feel muggy tomorrow. Yeah, no, I think it was just a hack that happens to YouTube channels that start to get bigger, because I've seen a lot of people going through this. And I mean, I saw at least 20 channels that went through the exact same hack that I was. So you know that if there was 20 channels, there was probably at least 3 times that were not making videos on it. Because I saw a lot of people making videos on it. Yeah, watch out for the oily roads as well. You get a rainfall here after a fairly dry summer, and the roads can be slick. The Pomos fire, I mean, any rainfall will help. Let me do this really quick here. Checking out something here on the map. Let's see. So the Pomos fire. So I was getting a question asked about the Pomos fire. So Lake Chelan is just to the west of Lake Chelan. So if we go ahead and check on the high resolution rapid refresh, and we go to surface precipitation, we go to total, and let's scroll through this here really quick. How close is that going to be? We'll go back to the 0Z run, and we're going to jump in a little bit closer here. We're going to go. You know, it does. I mean, the Pomos fire is on the higher terrain there. It is. So you should be getting a good dose of rainfall there for the Pomos fire. Again, there's Lake Chelan. We can zoom in further than this too. Let's go to Washington State. I mean, it looks like a solid inch and a half or so right on the Pomos fire should be pretty beneficial. And again, like we were talking earlier in the video, look at that rain shadow in there, Port Angeles. That's why people move to Port Angeles and swim. I mean, look at this. You're talking about 3, 4, 5 inches of rainfall across the higher trend of the Olympic Mountains. Moisture runs into the mountainside. Compression heating or warming happens on the leeward side of the mountains. And boom, lack of rainfall, big time lack of rainfall. And look at that sharp cutoff across the Kitsap Peninsula as well. Inch and a half versus much less to the north of that. Yeah, that's another thing too. I saw they mentioned in the excessive rainfall outlook is that we're not dealing with a lot of CAPE with this system. So they said negligible, but let me look at that. So here we go through the day Friday. Yeah, there's not much at all. Very little. Anything helps though. It can help with some of these events when there is some CAPE, but the instability doesn't happen until we get into Saturday, and that's after the atmospheric river. This is more of the trough hanging off of the coastline and allowing things to destabilize a bit there as we go through the day Saturday. So yeah, we're not looking at a lot of CAPE with this system. That's a big determining factor for atmospheric rivers into the state of California actually too. You can really bring some really heavy rainfalls in a short amount of time if you have any kind of CAPE associated with atmospheric rivers. Pretty ominous looking system though, if you think about it. In fact, let's do this. See if we can follow this system that came up north of the Hawaiian Islands. See that right there? A little bit of tropical moisture being brought up north. You can still see the little spin. It's got stripped of its deep convection there. Back that up a little bit. The last of its deep convection was probably right about there. You can see it was still producing some deep convection there northwest of the Hawaiian Islands. Loses its deep convection, but you can still see the surface spin of that system, bringing with it some of its tropical moisture. Gets caught up back in the westerlies, and that will be kind of caught up in the system a little bit here and pushed back towards the Pacific Northwest. Not a big deal there, but it doesn't hurt. Hurricane Heather, it lives in Northern California by Shasta. Yeah, you might get a little bit of rainfall out of the frontal system in Northern California there. Yeah, but it's nice to see, again, everybody, this is the new channel. Please subscribe if you haven't yet. This will be the backup channel going forward, provided I can get the other channel back up and running. I should be able to get that channel back up and running according to YouTube, but it's very tedious playing this waiting game when I know that I'm the owner, they know that I'm the owner, and I still can't get access to it. So we're just kind of playing that game here. It also controls California Weather Watch, and it also controls the Patreon page, so I'm waiting for that to come back online here. And that's true. It won't be melting a lot of snow, this system. There's not much snow to melt up there. But yeah, I'm going to wrap things up. You guys have been on here for an hour and a half. I just wanted to do my first live stream on this channel. Hopefully you guys are having a good night. I will do my normal briefing tomorrow morning. Hopefully you guys can tune in for that. It'll be go time. The storm will be on our doorstep. We'll go over the final aspects of that storm. We'll check out the winds, and we'll take a look at what's going to come through the weekend, because this trough is going to hang off our coastline here as well. And maybe we'll get some thunderstorms across the area also. But anyway, I'm going to wrap things up. I hope you guys enjoyed the live stream. Check in tomorrow. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Yeah, I missed the live. I mean, yeah, the live streams usually would vary around 2, 3, 4, 500 people, but sometimes with bigger events, there'll definitely be more. But I want to do more live streams as well. I'm thinking about doing one every Thursday, no matter what, just to kind of check in. talk about things, see what kind of questions you guys have, and then I'll be doing, of course, live streams during bigger events as well. But anyway, I will talk to you guys tomorrow.